After Anamika Sengupta was laid off from her corporate job after her maternity leave, which is quite a strange thing to hear, she decided to launch Almitra Tattva and Almitra Sustainable, a brand that promotes sustainable lifestyle with a range of eco-friendly products. While most of the entrepreneurs talk about the Eureka moment, a better experience led Anamika Sengupta to launch this sustainable lifestyle brand, which is a well-known global name in baby wearing, with huge market presence in Europe and exports to over 54 countries. Hello, my name is Sadaf and I welcome you to yet another very inspiring episode of Women Influencers Talk Show, and today we are going to interview Anamika Sengupta in person. So before I go ahead and she shares her success story, please consider subscribing to our channel and be a part of our growing community. Hello Anamika, welcome to Women Influencers Talk Show. How are you doing?
Hey Sadaf, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good too, and thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I'm excited and we are meeting, even though virtually we are meeting. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's an honor for us to have you here. Anamika, you grew up learning Descartes and Hume. So apart from reading these philosophers, what else was your interest in as a child?
So I think Descartes and Hume is something which just happened to me because philosophy and philosophers are, I think they just meet you in the walks of life. And how did I grew up? I think I was totally tuned with nature, a nurturer all the time, a caregiver, and I think that I would not even say that was my hobby or my interest. That is something that I have been all the time. I have not known living other than that. So yes, I think I was always a nurturer and extremely tuned to nature. So like when you say that you understand that it's going to rain with the height at which crows make their nests. So yeah, the person who says that was me. So yes, so that's how I have been as a child.
Well, you not only read philosophy, but you speak philosophy too. Anamika, your mantra is coexistence. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, coexistence is actually not another option, but I think it's the only option left for us, whether we like it or not. Coexistence sounds good, but let me tell you that you have to coexist to exist now, because the amount of acquiring things just for our own self that humans have done is huge. So like you either have to let go things, or when we talk about a minimalistic life approach, so all these just sounds as terminologies many a times, but what is the minimalistic approach? It is when we exist with other beings around us. Coexistence is something which is going to save us as humans, because there is no way out. So I think that summarizes coexistence.
Absolutely. I agree with you totally. Anamika, how was your experience as an IT professional, and how and what made you change your mind after you quit your job?
Wow. So my experience as an IT professional, I have always been working with my heart. So I think a job that you do or in which profession you are, that doesn't make much of a difference. But yes, definitely working in a very corporate setup gives you blinders. You are caged in a cubicle. So yes, if you're a hippie at heart and you always have a beckoning, you always have something to call you, but yes, that doesn't mean that you will be a bad professional. And I think I was at my career heights when I was into the corporate world, and it has been smooth till the time that I got shocked, and that was the time that I got pregnant. And the news, I think, the news of pregnancy didn't shock me, but I think shocked the world I was in. And so yes, I was I'm a victim of getting laid off from my company because of my maternity. So these are stories that I had always heard about people, and not that I didn't dread it, but honestly, I never thought that it's going to happen to me. And I think even that is a learning that this can dawn upon any of us. At times you think that this is not going to happen to me, and so yes, I have not quit because of maternity. I was asked to leave after I resumed my job, and yes, and I think I took it as a biggest cue and a biggest insult as well, as a woman, on my capabilities, on what I am or what I was. And yes, I think that push is very much needed. A lot of my well-wishers said that yes, it had to happen, you got pushed out of that role, and that is why today you are what you are. No, I was what I was, and I don't think so that I needed that bitter push, because you have it in you.
Oh my God, I can only imagine what went through you at that time. That was totally unfair. But then winners never quit, and you are a winner without any doubt. Now let's talk about your organization Almitra Tattva and Almitra Sustainable, which happened post this incident in your life. First of all, very interesting names. So what made you choose these labels, and what was the main motivation to start this enterprise?
So Almitra happened to me is of course post my corporate journey, and after I got laid off and I was at home, and your creative enzymes are too high during your maternity. You are creating a person inside you. So how creative can you be? And I think that was the time that I was actually my creativity was coming in front of me, and a lot of introspection was happening at that time. And if you are an entrepreneur in your heart, and you feel for the society, I'm sure certain things, the giving nature is also quite high during that time, I think. I do not know scientifically whether it is high at that time, but yes, I would feel my giving nature pretty dominant at that time, and creativity at its peak. So Almitra happened to me during that period, and yes, I got that push when I got out of my job, and I knew that I have to start something of my own. And I always say that I was raising suddenly two kids, because Neo was born, Neo my son, and so was Almitra. And it actually started when I got a baby wrap for my child from US, and I was thinking that why I had to bring a wrap from US for my child, and that's when I started thinking about it, and I started getting in touch with some weavers, and that's it. Just started. We started with the Facebook page, and now we are around in 54 countries. So yeah, Almitra started during the time Neo was born. And why the names? The names, because I'm an ardent follower of Khalil Gibran. He's a philosopher, a writer, a poet. And so in his book The Prophet, there is a girl named Almitra who asks the maximum questions to the Prophet, and the Prophet answers her everything. So it was always there was an Almitra in my mind, and if I would have had a daughter, probably she would have been named Almitra, but I had a son, Neo, so Almitra also was born along with Neo. And Almitra Sustainables, I think it just happened with the flow, because Neo was growing up, and the amount of unnatural things coming in a child's life was daunting, and he was growing up, and we were following his natural cues. We as parents, me and Biplab, were just following his natural cues, and we did not want to do anything cosmetic in his life. And his small teeth started erupting, and we really didn't want to put that darn plastic in his mouth as a toothbrush. Believe me, a few years back I didn't even know that a bamboo toothbrush existed. But yes, the entire thing started with a need to give my child a healthy life. and also uh, the empathy of understanding other caretakers, other caregivers at that time, who must be facing the same issue of wanting to give a healthy life to the next generation, for the people whom they love, for the people whom they care, for the people whom we have brought in this world and exposed them to this cosmetic world, but we are unable to give them that. So I saw the challenge that I was facing to get natural resources in his life. Like of course he's a completely barefoot child, climbing trees, completely outdoor. So yes, nature is his best teacher. But when it came at home, we were confined. We were confined with things which were plastic, in literal sense as well, very plastic. So no experience, and to talk about hazards, we cannot list them. It's like, the amount of hazardous things that one's kitchen, one's living room, or where we stay has, is like, you cannot list them. And I really didn't want that to happen to my child. So yes, it was a very self-centered approach, but I could relate to other caregivers, and that's how Almitra Sustainables came into existence.
That's great. Anamika, Almitra has become a preferred name for many, not only in India but also abroad, when it comes to sustainably and responsibly made wearable creation for both mother and baby. How did you make sure that all ethical and quality standards are constantly met?
The answer is pretty simple. What is safe for your child is safe for others. So whatever products, whatever our launches are, is first tried at home. And so that's an advantage also, because when it's a mother prana, so that was an advantage I think I carried, because the safety for your child is of utmost importance. So whether it is ISO-free dyes, that is baby safe dyes that you use, or it is safety testing of the weight. So yes, our products, the Almitra Tattva products, do comply with the ASTM standards. And so right from the time it was launched, we did adhere to all the safety standards, and because that was utmost important. So it's not like we started and then slowly we adhered to the safety standards. No, when we came in the market, we came with all the safety norms. And same with sustainables, because again, what you put in your child's mouth, though we are not into consumables, we are not into something which is like you're actually consuming, eating it, but though it is like, things that you use, but safety is of utmost importance. So yes, we test it ourselves. My child has it, so other children also can have it.
All right. Anamika, as you stated before, being a new mom is a wonderful and most powerful phase of a woman's life, but it comes with a lot of responsibilities and unexpected challenges. What would you like to say about that?
I feel being a mother, though it's a natural feat, I think it's the most daring feat that happens to anyone, and that keeps you going. No doubt, your life changes overnight. From a common girl, from a girl you just become a mother, and there is a lot of societal pressure. Yes, pressure, definitely. I was just thinking which word to use here, but yes, it is societal pressure. And motherhood comes with a lot of things. They put you on a pedestal. Either they call you a super mom, or there are lot of restrictions, right from breastfeeding to how to raise your child, your house help, to blogger, to your doctor. Everybody advises you, and like your parents and your neighbors. So everyone is an advisory committee, and it's like free advice, unwarranted, completely. They want to come in your lives and start training you all of a sudden. And yes, so it is pretty much, you feel lost. I felt lost. I definitely felt lost. And yes, I think it was good I was lost, because that gave me an opportunity to find myself. And my child was definitely my strength, and I every time that I used to see his face, I couldn't imagine that I could create such a beautiful thing, and that kept me going. So yes, there are challenges. Definitely, there are challenges. We cannot say that there are no challenges, but maybe your inner strength. Your inner strength is the cue, and your inner strength does speak to you. So I think pregnancy and motherhood is the right time for you to speak to yourself, because you are so natural, you are so raw in your form itself, and I think there's a lot of energy in motherhood.
Absolutely. Now, Anamika, with the honors in philosophy and a postgraduate diploma in mass media communication, you were passionately drawn towards the soul-stirring role of being an environmental educationist studying herpetology and canine behavior. What kind of workshops did you conduct to expand your knowledge?
Yes, you are right. There is lack of awareness about our surroundings, where we stay, and it's an irony that it is a challenge to make people aware about your own surroundings. So yeah, yes, I think mass communication, whether it helped me communicate with people furthermore better, I'm not sure whether the textbooks helped me. But yes, definitely, I did conduct a lot of awareness programs. Whether it was with street children, it was with people just living with their pet dogs, street children and stray dogs connection. It's always been beautiful, knowing another species and trying to able to communicate with them, and just understanding them as canine. And herpetology is a vast subject. So where I lived in, there are snakes. Actually, even like even today there can be snakes coming in and out, and it used to be extremely heart-wrenching seeing people killing snakes. And I was pretty young at that time, and I knew that I don't want to do it, and I definitely was clear that we need to coexist. And that's how I started learning about reptiles and snakes in particular, and understanding that in India most of the snakes that live in our habitat are non-poisonous. So yes, I used to rehabilitate or catch snakes from residential areas. We used to leave them in the jungle habitat, and also make children and the surroundings aware about their existence, and there is nothing to fear of. So all of this, yes. Now while I speak to you, it is almost nostalgic, because it feels like long ago. Not that the awareness has stopped, but yes, it's been a long journey, definitely.
Sure. So, Anamika, you are a strong believer of grow your own food. Please share your thoughts with our audience and also give us some tips, because a lot of people want to grow their own food but feel that it's too tricky.
How important is this? I think the most important, food is our energy, our fuel that we put in ourselves. Food is something for which we work for. Food is something that we around which our life actually revolves. We may have a lot of philosophical aspirations. We talk about so many things, but at the end of the day, food is the most important thing, and it's so important to understand what goes in my body, and also who puts things in my body. So whether the things that I consume, whether it is as unadulterated that it looks like. So yes, it's extremely important to grow your own food. Why? Because probably the food that I get now, I do not trust it. It comes very innocently, packed in pesticides, packed with hormones, packed with things that is going to affect my brain, my health, my child's development. So it is not as innocent as it looks. Basically, growing your own food should be very basic, very natural. And yes, it is going off the grid, because you are not dependent on anyone else to put those morsels in your mouth. The food that comes completely adulterated. So yes, and it's very much possible in urban surroundings. People feel that you need a good house, you need a lot of space to do it. No, you can grow your own food in your windowsills, in small terraces, in balconies, because you are growing with seeds. You are growing with seeds, and seed, the very nature of seed is to grow and give, and that's all that seeds can do. It can you just sow just a handful of seeds, and they give you so much in return. They give you so much in return. If you do not know where to start, one tip that I can give is, when you do not know where to start, you just start with microgreens, because your connection with soil is so important. And for microgreens, I think you just require a fistful of soil, and you can grow anything as easy as growing mustards. And when they just pop out, you can just I eat them almost like a goat. But if you can use them in your salads and in a lot of other preparation.
Of course, and the benefits of this are surely unlimited. Anamika, please share your experience with the artisans, and also what are your thoughts about the handloom industry in India?
What I feel about artisans, rather what I feel about art. I fear that art will be just seen or preserved in museums, and we'll have to experience art, we'll have to go to a museum, because art is dying. And if art dies, definitely your heart dies. Art is the only thing I feel that keeps your heart going, and not many other species around you are fortunate enough to experience the feeling of art, and we human beings have it in us. And artisans are something, when we say artisans, sadly we think about remote villages. See, that's how our thinking is. And sadly, art is prevailing in the rural world. And future is not to suck the rural economy. The future is not to get the rural art back here, not the rural artisans in the urban areas. We need to preserve the art where it is. So yes, each one should see to it that the art is preserved. And about handloom industries, I think I am not the first person who must be speaking about it. Handloom industries definitely are dying, because we need things in excess. We want fast fashion. We want fast things. So of course, the machine looms have taken over hand looms, and we don't have the patience. We don't need hands to weave our clothing, and we need fast things. We require fast fashion, and that's how the handloom industry is dying. Fortunately, we are doing our bit to support. I may not say that I'm doing a very great job, but yes, I'm doing my bit. And I think if even as consumers, people start supporting this in their own manner as a consumer. I'm not saying that you get up and start a rural enterprise, but you at least start supporting rural products.
That's true, and we as Indians should know that people throughout the world know our country for its culture and heritage, and it's our duty not only to preserve it but also nurture it. Anamika, you believed in creating a space where you see women working fearlessly. What mindset shift do you think is required in today's women to make that achievable?
Oh yes. So of course, as I said that I was a victim of getting laid off from my company, that I could have obviously got into another job, and in fact I had our competitor IT company trying to poach me at that time, and it could have been an easy shift of job. But what stopped me from doing that was that I will be again ending up in another corporate setup which has similar philosophies. So I surely knew that we needed a more inclusive environment for women, because yes, the needs of women are different, especially during maternity, and definitely first we need to recognize her as a human. And I was seeing that's really not happening. Yes, corporate worlds do not probably treat human as humans, and furthermore, women are not treated equal at all. And I'm not the first person to say you this, right? We have all experienced it. We all know about it. So I definitely wanted an inclusive environment, and today I can proudly say that our doors will never be closed to a woman who is breastfeeding. And I'm telling it here also on your channel that we would welcome women, even if they are breastfeeding, they can. The change has to happen in the ecosystem. The change has to happen in the inclusivity. The change has to happen in acceptance. It's not the woman who has to change her thinking. The world around her will change. The woman definitely will change. So that we speak about the grit of the woman. We speak that the women should start being ambitious. We start telling women that what, women are reaching to the skies, and so should you. No, the woman who is reaching the sky and the woman there, maybe just 20 kilometers from where I live, is a completely different woman. And completely different surroundings. So we cannot compare women. We cannot compare women to each other. Everybody is a product of her own circumstances. So we should also stop victim blaming. When a woman is not stepping out of the house, when the woman is not making up her mind to do things, we say that the woman does not have it in her. I did it, why can't you do it? Because my circumstances are definitely different from her circumstances. And that's where the sisterhood comes in. That's where the inclusivity comes in. That's where the empathy comes in. And understanding, I would understand a woman when I understand the circumstances she is in. Everyone is a victim of this patriarchal system. So the system has to change, not the mind system of a woman.
I agree with you totally, and it's high time we make this shift. Anamika, you like living close to the nature. So what are your thoughts about this, and where do you see this world 10 years down the line post this pandemic? I'm talking about the mindset of people towards an ecosystem and a nature-friendly lifestyle.
While the pandemic was teaching each of us to go back to basics in a rather disciplinary way, and we did not have any options, and we were trying to gather our things in the surroundings, from the surroundings or from the resources available. We have been off nature, right? Nature had pushed us off, completely pushed us off. We were the only element in nature which was not fitting the nature during the pandemic. But yes, our memories are short, and of course I'm hopeful that maybe if we have learned our lessons, definitely we know what is important, and not what is important for nature, what is important for us to be in nature. How do I see 10 years from now? Let's be hopeful. Let's be hopeful that we will be more alert, and we will be able to respect nature, our surroundings more, or nature knows how to take care of herself, and she definitely knows whether to keep you along with her or not. So yes, I think it's time to just wake up. It's a wake-up call for all of us.
Sure, and frankly speaking, if not now, then when? Anamika, what message would you like to give to all the women who want to pursue a career in this field and want to choose this line of work?
I would definitely like to tell women that not to deter, because there probably will be a lot of roadblocks, and if this could happen, for me, being an entrepreneur happened during my maternity time, wherein I was literally shown or made to feel weak as a woman, because whatever happened was just based on my gender. It was the circumstances. The attack was a gender attack, and if I could do it, I definitely feel that start believing in the creative enzymes that each of us possess. Start those small me talks. Start talking to yourself. Start basking in the glory of your feminine energy, and it's really beautiful. We do talk about feminine energy so much, and we feel that it is a very surreal or a very spiritual terminology. I do not know about it, but yes, there is definitely a feminine energy existing in each one of us. We hear a lot of things about me time. So yes, what is that me time? That me time may be maybe your silence, maybe your inward talk, and I think that will let you going. And do not deter. Keep moving, because life is all about moving. And definitely, if there are blocks, there are paths. So where there will be blocks, there definitely will be some path waiting for you, and you need to hear your call.
True, affirmations are very important, along with the awareness and introspection, which is equally important to define the quality of life. Anamika, in all this work of being an entrepreneur and managing a small child, how supportive has your family been?
My family's support has been, actually speaking, seamless. So seamless that I wouldn't even say that, they are so supportive that they are pillars, because probably you can see those pillars. This is like blending so much into you. It's the same path that we walk on, and probably the same future that we envision for ourselves and for our surroundings. So I think we breathe the same. So what more can I talk about when you are a clan of people staying together and you breathe the same mantra? So the support has been that's seamless. About Biplab, we have walked the same path, and we have made changes together, and that can be inside the house, that can be the breaking stereotypes, right from breaking gender stereotypes to other norms. And where my heart is, my beautiful sister-in-law, Kalyani. We call her Happy because she really keeps us happy all the time. And I would say, yes, I say that she's seamless, but she has been my backbone.
Awesome! A good family support system definitely makes a lot of difference. Lastly, Anamika, we would like to know, what are your thoughts about our talk show?
Sadaf, this is such an awesome and such a wonderful platform that you have created for women to connect all around the world and bringing their stories. It's not about success stories. It is bringing stories forth, and it is so much needed because women have got the voice. I think a few decades back, women have started speaking a few decades back, and more than speaking, it's the feeling of getting heard. And you are creating this amazing platform for women to speak and to get heard, and to share from each other and grow with that support and help. This is like a virtual support group, and it's beautiful that you're doing it. It's a commendable job, and kudos to you and your team. And I really appreciate your initiative, and would like to go that extra mile if you want me to connect to someone, to share an inspiration or get inspired. I'll always be there. And I've seen a few talks of yours, and they are really inspirational. And you have created this amazing world for women. And I really wish you a lots of luck to go ahead with this initiative. And I really see this going strong, and including more and more women, and a beautiful ecosystem that you are creating. All the best, and thank you so much, Sadaf.
Thank you, Anamika, and you said it right. We are so fortunate to serve as a virtual forum for all the women, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank each one of you for trusting us and supporting us to go this far. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank you, Anamika, for coming on our show and gracing us with your presence. Here's wishing you all the very best in your future endeavors. And all you beautiful people, thank you so much for your support. So please subscribe to our channel, share the link of this video with your family and friends. So till we meet next time again, take care, stay safe, and be happy.